All right, guys, good morning. This is George and Brandon again coming at you with another Rock Hill Patrol Rips. Okay, so what we've got here today is a little bit different. We're not talking about the same bikes. This is not a a two-up impression. This is a debate. I am out on a road glide, and Brandon
Is on a street glide for the first time, actually.
for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I put you on the street glide. I wanted you to get the flavor because Brandon, you had a road glide, so you
Yes.
know what that's all about.
Yes, I
You
knew.
know?
I was particularly like, okay, I'll go with the street glide this time.
Yeah, and I've ridden the street glide myself fairly intensively through the month of March because my Audi was in the shop mainly.
Mhm.
Also because I wanted to get to know the bike,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a strong following for the street glides, and now I see why.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're getting a flavor.
Yeah, it was different. Honestly, not having the gauges kind of like right on top of you, and I mean, well, yeah, having the gauges on top of you instead of like more of a distance, and really kind of how everything's laid out. In the street glide versus the road glide, it's a visual difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and this is a big debate whether people go road glide or street glide, is because the handlebar moves and the fairing doesn't, or the fairing moves with the handlebars, and that's, like I said, it's all visuals when it comes to the road glide and the street glide.
Exactly. Now I'm used to having that fixed fairing myself
Mhm.
because of bikes like GS's, bikes like the ZX11s,
Mhm.
and other sport bikes from other brands.
Mhm.
So I'm used to having that fixed fairing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I took out that street glide, it was very different having the entire front end of the bike moving around with me. But I am kind of a big fan of the road glide, and let me tell you why. And it's not just the fixed fairings. Let's go to the bikes and show you. I think with the road glide, now this is a 2016, so it's not as high tech as the street glide over here, but the new road glides are, and they have the infotainment up here, the gauges down here. You don't really need to read the gauges because you can see from your peripheral vision where the gauges are pointed and you know what's up. But up here, if you're going to be running your navigation, it's closer into your field of vision, so it's a more tactical layout with your infotainment system. So running the navs, your eyes are on the road more than on a street glide.
Yeah.
And that's just my impression on that aspect.
Like I said, the eye movement is always big for a road glide. You don't move your eyes that much. In the street glide, you don't move your eyes that much, but as far as the screen is moved up and everything's just kind of, like I said, switched around. And so versus the street glide, it's all in one, it's all together.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big thing I took from this is it not having to look further down for the tachometer and the speedometer. It's all just right there in one cluster. And knowing that the speakers are in different places, they're actually kind of smaller. They're same 6.5 inch speakers, but still they're just not as formed, and it's different. And the way that now I have versus over here, you can see that you have these
You got some
versus
compartments.
here, you don't really have those, you just have one. So
Yeah.
but
So-
you still get the bags. The bags are, that's what really doesn't change, is that we still get the hard style bags.
So you got the same bags, essentially the same frames. It's essentially the same bike. It's just up here on the front end of the situation. Here, in my opinion, this is where the street glide does win. You've got that classic muscle bike look. The front end, it actually moves more air around you. It protects you better in bad weather. I experienced that through March with all the rains. I rode in the rain. I like where the mirrors are located on that a lot better. Riding in cold weather, your hands are protected a lot more. And you have that classic muscle bike bagger look that Harley invented. Harley owns that look, and honestly, nobody else can touch that look. Not even the road glide. The road glide, the look is love it or leave it. And most people, even though they're road glide fans, say the street glide is where it's at in appearance.
I think my biggest thing is that, the one headlight versus the two headlights, and people go back and forth between that, and a lot of time, and like you said, it's a big wind difference, because wind does tend to go in between the headlights and the fairing. It does make its way and how it moves around the bike. We always call this the shark nose versus the bat wing. So like I said, wind direction was a big thing for these two bikes.
Yeah. If I was gonna buy one of these bikes today, I mean, I love the color on this one. This is a 2016, but all things, if all things being equal, between a Road Glide and a Street Glide, I did a poll on our Facebook page with all of our followers, and I asked you guys, between the two, which one would you pick? And it was kind of heated. There was a lot of response. The Road Glide won.
Really?
By one vote. So
you got people on there starting going, count again.
There was people calling for that recount, but I counted it twice. I would buy, between a brand new Street Glide and a brand new Road Glide, I would buy a brand new Road Glide. That's just where I'm at. However, that batwing fairing is absolutely iconic, and you'll see guys that post on our videos on our Facebook page when I talk about the Street Glide. Some guy will throw in hashtag Street Glide Nation. I mean, it's got a massive following because that has been the #1 bike for Harley-Davidson since it came out.
Yeah, it's always been at the top of the list. People have, one guy told me in my other dealership that I used to work at, he goes, it's kind of like the Street Glide's like a belly button. Everybody's got one. So, and that's really what it comes down to. It's so popular. People, especially, in the touring family, because it's the top of the touring family. It
really is.
It really is. I mean, you've got the best of both worlds. The Limiteds, I'm not taking away from Limiteds, Ultras, or whatever else, because that's your massive touring bike. But this bike is kind of the best of both worlds. If I want to go to the gas station, I can go to the gas station. Or if I want to go to the beach, I can go to the beach. I've got the best of everything. I don't have too much this way and too little this way. Right. So it's perfect.
And that's kind of what I picked up when I was riding it through March. It was a do-everything bike, even though it is essentially a touring bike. Harley classes it as a touring bike. But it was great around town because it's got good maneuverability, a low center of gravity. And I could, if I had to stop by the grocery store and get some
milk or eggs or whatever.
Get some
not
snacks.
eggs. Not eggs.
It might shake them up.
Yeah, and they come out scrambled.
But if I needed my Scooby snacks, I could pick them up with no problem. And I could do the same on the Road Glide. But the Street Glide, it just looked so boss everywhere I went. People, I'd pull into a parking lot, heads would turn, they'd look at that bike, and I'd get those nods. I don't quite get that on the Road Glide. It doesn't have that same presence. It doesn't have that history. It does have something else, though.
Yeah, it's got a lot, and like I said, we're not taking this. Like I said, this is a debate. We're not taking away from the Road Glide because, like I said, I love the Road Glide, just the way that it felt to me. It was all about feel with the Road Glide. Street Glide, yes, it feels great. It feels like you're just, And here's what I tell everybody: the visual difference is, there's a visual difference because the handlebars do move, and that's an obvious thing. But again, when you're at 60 miles an hour, your handlebars don't move that much.
No.
So it doesn't, there's not that much of a physical gain, but sometimes there is.
Now, if you're going to talk aerodynamics, and I do have some background in that, the Road Glide is superior aerodynamically. But at the same time, that's why the Street Glide is so much better at weather protection, even with the same size windshields and whatnot, because it's pushing more air around you, the rider. High speed on the interstate, when you start ticking up above 80, those differences become apparent, especially if you're getting passed by a big truck, or you're passing a big truck and you're going through that dirty air, you're cutting through that buffeting. You're going to feel it on the Street Glide a lot more. You can feel that air is trying to move your bike. It's trying to steer your bike because it's grabbing that the batwing fairing, and it's pushing your forks. You don't have that on the Road Glide, so the Road Glide's a little bit more stable at high speed. But really, how often are we burning up the interstate at max velocity?
It's I would say about 30% of your riding is done on massive interstates. And bikers don't, and this is particular to, I mean, I don't ride massive, like, 4-lane highways. I'm always trying to find back roads, and I think that's what most bikers do. They try to find those back roads because it's just more scenic, and it's just easier to ride on back roads.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just feel like, when you take that into effect, it's like, but that's just a small part of it.
Because if you're burning up triple-digit speeds, really on these things, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, seriously.
You're not enjoying what motorcycling is all about.
Yeah.
You're just blasting down the interstate at warp factor 10, and that's great if you have to go someplace in a hurry. And the Road Glide definitely has the advantage in that. But between the two, I mean, there's really no bad answer. There's no bad choice. There's no wrong answer here. If you pick one or the other, they're both great. But yeah, I'm going to side on the Road Glide side. And you're the same?
It's hard to tell now, because now it's just it's a tough decision to make, because like I said, now that you've ridden both of them, and it's just kind of hard to tell. So I'm gonna stay undecided this time.
You're gonna stay undecided. Okay, all right. So one vote for the Road Glide, and one vote for undecided, which is totally fair. Here's the best thing about it, though, Brandon. You don't have to pick just one. You can have them both. You can have them both. Cox Harley-Davidson. We've got both of these bikes in stock. 2016, link below in the description to that bike. 2018, link below in the description on that bike. And if you want either one of them, if you want to take a ride, if you want to do a compare and contrast with our boy Brandon, we can do that. Set the appointment, link below in the description for that, because with the Corona situation, we're gonna have to make more appointments. Anyway, we'll see you at Cox Harley-Davidson. Cheers.